Shalom, brothers and sisters. Grace be unto you and peace from Yahuwah the Father and Yahusha the Messiah, his Son. This is Brother Dave coming to you to give you another word. And our word for today is promises. You know, this is a word that has been misunderstood, especially by the church. They try to apply the promises that are in the scriptures to themselves. But you can't apply the promises that are in the scriptures if you also do not apply the law. Paul understood this. This is why when he explained what the promises was, he also explained that you had to have a certain behavior. And what behavior was that? You had to keep the commandments, brothers and sisters. You cannot have the promises without the law. They work hand in hand. Let me give you an example. The Father says, if you do this, that's keep the commandments, you will live. And the Father says, if you don't do this, that's not keep the commandments, you will die. That's a promise. And he's promised all of these things in his commandments. You cannot separate the promise from the commandments. It doesn't work that way. But the church tries to make it work that way. They try to say that you can be as lawless as you want to be and still have all of the promises. That is not biblical, and it surely isn't rational. Let's take a look at that word promise. KJV dictionary definition for promise. 1. In a general sense, a declaration, written or verbal, made by one person to another, which binds the person who makes it either in honor, conscience, or law to do or forbear a certain act specified. A declaration which gives to the person to whom it is made a right to expect or to claim the performance or forbearance of the act. So whoever this declaration is made to, they have the right to expect or to claim that performance or forbearance of the act. That means that they're looking for the one who has made the promise to carry it out. But when we speak about the promises that are made in the scriptures, these promises are contingent not only of the performance of the person who has made the promise, but also contingent upon the performance of the person who the promise is given to. For example, do this and live, and don't do this and die. So your promise that the Most High has given to us in his word is always contingent upon the performance of the person who has accepted the promise. Now you have to remember, to accept the promise, you also must accept the contract. And the contract is keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments. Let's continue. Let's look at an example here. The promise of a visit to my neighbor gives him the right to expect it, and I am bound in honor and civility to perform the promise. Of such a promise, human laws have no cognizance. But the fulfillment of it is one of the minor moralities which civility, kindness, and strict integrity require to be observed. Hold it 1 second. Brothers and sisters, If our Father has given you a declaration, He has given you a promise, He has to fulfill it. He is required to observe it. The problem here is that our Father's promises are connected to the activity of His people. If you keep that covenant and contract that He has given to you, He promises that you will be the head and not the tail. You'll be above and not beneath. You will be a lender and not a borrower. He has His integrity at stake if He does not fulfill His part of the bargain. But because He is Yahuwah, the master of the universe, He will fulfill whatever He has spoken. His word will not return void. His promises are true. He will not forget you. For Yahuwah is still on the throne. Let's check out the script. 2 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 1. Verse 1 reads as thus: Having therefore these promises, dearly beloved, let us cleanse ourselves from all filthiness of the flesh and spirit, perfecting holiness in the fear of God. Now, brothers and sisters, when you read a scripture like this, and it says, having therefore these promises, the first thing that you have to identify is what promise is he speaking about, right? But I want you to observe something here that maybe we're not paying attention to. The promises are only for Israel, brothers and sisters, because they're the only ones who are under contract. So if he's writing this letter to the Corinthians, which is not to the Corinthians, it is to the Israelites that are in Corinth, that have been scattered abroad. That's the way it should read, right? And he says, having therefore these promises, and knowing that the promises are only for the children of Israel, then you know who Paul's target group is. It is not for the whole city of Corinth. It is only for a specific group of people, brothers and sisters, and we're going to prove that. So once we go from this scripture here, we need to find out what the promise is. And the promise is always in the context. And remember, this is a letter, and a letter has a flow. You have to read the whole letter to understand. But in this case, if we want to know what the promise is, we either have to go back or forward in this letter. So in this case, we're going to go back. 2 Corinthians chapter 6. Let's read what verse 16 has to say. And what agreement hath the temple of the living God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God. Let me stop there for a second. Brothers and sisters, you are his temple. He wants to dwell with you. But what you do is that you stop him from coming into you. And this scripture is going to tell you how you do that. But you hold the Spirit. I know in the church, everyone says that they have the Spirit of God, and they're running around and screaming to the top of their lungs, falling on the floor. But brothers and sisters, that is not it. They don't have the Spirit of the Most High. They're trafficking with demons and devils. He says that I will dwell in them and walk in them and will be their God, and they shall be my people. Now, he says, as God have said. You see that highlighted in bold and black? You have to ask yourself, well, where did he say this? In Ezekiel chapter 37, in 27, it reads like this: my tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Now you see that word tabernacle, that means dwelling place or dwelling. Remember, you are the temple of the living God. So he says that he's going to tabernacle with you. He's going to dwell with you and walk with you, and you shall be his God and you shall be his people. You see, brothers and sisters, you have to go and check every single thing, because what the church tells you in the New Testament, in 2 Corinthians, they tell you that it's talking about everyone. And it's not. You have to find out who these promises were given to. In verse 28 is the identifying factor. It states this: and the heathen shall know that I, Yahuwah, do sanctify or set apart Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forever. You see, it's Israel he's talking about. He's only sanctified one group of people, Israel. Where did we get it in our heads that it was everyone? Well, Satan's seed, his people, are the ones who've twisted the scripture and told you that you're nothing but a heathen, but in all reality, you are the children of Israel. You are a heathen because you've taken on the attributes of those who are surrounding you, and you're following them. Brothers and sisters, come back, because all of these promises are for you. So when we go back to 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 16, we find the same exact language, brothers and sisters. This is why you have to go and check back and forward. Now let's take a look at the promise. And verse 17, this is the action. Wherefore, come out from amongst them. You see the action? You have to do something first, brothers and sisters. The promise is always connected to an action. You'll see this as a reoccurring theme throughout the whole scriptures. Wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith Yahuwah, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. So if you're touching the unclean thing, do you think that he's going to receive you? Do you think that if you're still amongst these people, do you think that he's going to receive you? You have to follow instructions. He says, come out from amongst them and be ye separate. Who is he talking about? He's talking about the heathen. He's talking about anyone who is worshiping a false entity. You have to come out from amongst them. Where are they at? They are in the church. They refuse to keep the commandments. They do everything that the pagans do and do it better than they've ever dreamed of doing it. That is the church. That's where you're at. Brothers and sisters, we are in this strong delusion. We have been believing this lie for 400 years. It's time to wake up and open the book and start studying so that you can see this whole book is about your heritage. Let's look at the promise, verse 18. And will be a father unto you. So he says, he'll be a father unto you if you first separate yourself, then don't touch the unclean thing. He said he'll receive you. And now he says, I'll be a father unto you once you have done this action. And ye shall be my sons and daughters. He's going to make you his sons and daughters. And then he signed the document at the end, saith Yahuwah Almighty. This is a promise, but it's connected to an action, brothers and sisters. You have to actually carry it out. Now we know what the promise is in 2 Corinthians 7:1. So now we know that the promise is connected to an action. You have to do your part first. Then he comes in and does his part. In 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 56 reads like this. Blessed be Yahuwah. Woo, the master of the universe, that have given rest unto his people Israel. Have you seen, he said he's given rest unto the Romans, the Corinthians, the Ephesians? No, he said his people Israel. So remember, all of these letters that you see here, anytime that Paul is talking about the promise, he's not talking about any Europeans. He's only talking to Israel. Brothers and sisters, we need to wake up and see this, because this is how they've deceived us all these years. According to all that he have promised. Now it says according to all that he have promised. Now you have to find out where he's promised that. And then after we read on in this passage, it explains. There have not failed one word of all his good promise, which he promised by the hand of Moses, his servant. Now do you see? All of the promises are in the law. It's always a connection with an action and a promise. If you do this, I'll do that. If you do this, I'll do that. The key factor here, what he is saying in all reality, if you keep my commandments, you will be the head and not the tail. You will be above and not beneath. You will be a lender and not a borrower. And in Romans chapter 9, it also identifies who the promise is given to. It spells it out very simple. I'm going back and forward, Old Testament and New, brothers and sisters, so that you can see that these Europeans have been tricking you all these years, telling you that these Gentiles mean everyone. The Gentiles are only the house of Israel that went a-whoring after other gods, and the Father gave him a letter of divorce and cut them off, but he promised in his word that he would come back and redeem that remnant of his people. And then he identifies in verse 4 who the promise was given to. Who are Israelites? I hope that's clear to you, brothers and sisters. And then it says, to whom pertaineth, that means belongs to. The adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of God and, look at that, the promises. Did it say, remember now, we're in the book of Romans, right? All these years we were deceived into believing that when it said the book of Romans, that it was speaking to Romans, the Europeans. But it's not. It tells you right here who Paul is speaking to. He said that he wished himself were accursed for his brethren, for his kinsmen according to the flesh. That's the verse right above this. And then he tells you that they're Israelites. And then he tells you that the promises belongs to them. And then he says in verse 5 something strange. And brothers and sisters, this is why when you read, you have to take your time and go through it line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. Listen to this. Whose are the fathers? What is he talking about here? He's given you the bloodline, the lineage that comes from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Those are the fathers. But look at this, of whom concerning the flesh Christ came. Christ did not come for anyone who is outside of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He only came for Israel, who belongs or pertaineth to all of the promises, who come from the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is an exclusive club that he came back for. He didn't come back for anyone else. The only people in the whole scripture that are under contract is Israel. Therefore, the only people who have a covenant with the Most High is Israel. Therefore, the only people who are under punishment for not keeping the law is Israel, not the Europeans, not the African nations, not the Asian nations, only Israel. No one can pay the penalty for disobedience but the ones who is under contract. I have a home. I have a mortgage. If I don't pay my mortgage, my neighbor next door is not responsible. The bank will not come to him and say, we're going to foreclose on your home because your neighbor David did not pay his mortgage. They're just going to come to me. I am the only one who will pay the penalty. That's why Israel is paying the penalty. Why do you think we are the lowest on the planet today? Why do you think the suffering is so widespread amongst us? Why do you think that we have sunk so low that you can't go any lower than where we're at? Brothers and sisters, it is because of the curse of the law. He told you that if you do this, I will do that. And if you don't do this, all these curses will come upon you. Read Deuteronomy chapter 28 in its entirety, and you'll see what those curses are, brothers and sisters. So no one can pay the penalty for breaking the law of Yahuwah, but those who are under contract, who have verbally stated that they will do everything that is in that law and who have been sprinkled by his blood. On the other hand, no one can receive the promises, but those who are under contract. If you keep this contract, then this promise that you will be the head and not the tail, above and not beneath, and a lender and not a borrower will be for you. That's a promise. Pertain, to belong to. You see? I just wanted to show you this so that you can see. So these promises belong to only one group of people, to be the property of, the right of duty of. It only belongs to Israel. So when you see these things, brothers and sisters, do not think it's talking to Romans. This letter should be to the Israelites that were scattered in Rome. That's what it should be. It probably is what it was. But once the Europeans got a hold of it, and they wanted to trick you and deceive you and put you in this strong delusion, they just put Romans here. And what did you believe? It's to the Europeans. Zechariah chapter 8, verse 12 through 13. Listen to this, brothers and sisters. I want you to see who these promises are for. For the seed shall be prosperous. Hold it 1 second. Did he say everyone? He said the seed. You have to remember what the seed is. It comes from the fathers. Who are the fathers? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Everyone did not come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, even though they try to put themselves in this lineage, of no avail, of course. It says, the vine shall give her fruit, and the ground shall give her increase, and the heavens shall give their due. And I will cause the remnant of this people. What people is that? Israel, brothers and sisters, to possess all things. Did he say some things? He said all things. Brothers and sisters, you're wasting your time chasing after things of this world. Keep the commandments. Follow Yahuwah, have the testimony of our Messiah, Yahusha. And brothers and sisters, you will possess all things. Come out from amongst these heathen. Be ye separate. Don't touch those unclean things. Come back to him, and he shall return to you. Listen to verse 13. I love the way my Father does this. He identifies exactly who he's speaking to, so that you are not deceived. Now, the Europeans will make you think he's speaking to everybody, but when you read the scripture, it's totally different. That's why I want you to read and study so you can see the things that I'm seeing. Verse 13, listen to this. And it shall come to pass that as ye were a curse among the heathen. Now, brothers and sisters, there's no one else who is a bigger curse amongst these heathen than us. Everything we touch turns to doo-doo. That's right. Here, they can come over here from other countries. We all know this. And they can get a leg up in a couple of seconds. The next thing you know, they're living in big mansions. They're driving big fancy cars. And they just got here. And we've been here for 400 years. And we still can't make it. Why? Because we are the tail. Because we did not keep his commandments. Then he identifies who he's talking to. O house of Judah. We said, O house of Rome or Romans, or house of Asians, or house of Africans, or is there any such thing? No, he says house of Judah and house of Israel. Listen to this, brothers and sisters. This is a promise that he has given only to his people Israel. He said, so I will save you. Did he say he's going to save anyone else? Did he say that the Europeans were going to possess all things? Their time is up for that. Our time is nigh. If you keep his commandments and have the testimony of our Messiah. Did he say every bloodline upon the earth were going to be blessed? No. Or be prosperous? No. He says the seed that comes from who? A specific group of people, specific fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. These are the ones who shall be prosperous and possess all things. A remnant, a small portion of this people that he's going to bring out from amongst the heathen. Because we were cursed amongst these people, he said that he's going to come and he's going to save us. And then he says we'll be a blessing to the earth. The earth awaits our return. The earth mourns because these demons and devils are ruling. They're destroying the oceans. They're destroying the soil. They're destroying the atmosphere. They're destroying the food that you're eating. They're destroying you. The earth is mourning for the return of the people of Yahuwah that will rule and reign in righteousness, in goodness, and in truth, brothers and sisters. This great salvation plan is for us. And us only. Who is the us? Well, the Bible tells you all I can identify by the scriptures is the house of Judah. And who is the house of Judah? The house of Judah has been scattered abroad, the whole earth. And they were taken captive and taken in slave ships. It's called the transatlantic slave trade, brothers and sisters. The Bible clearly tells you this. They took us around the world in slave ships and took us captive. It's the only ones that I can identify because the house of Israel were scattered so many years. They were taken captive so many years, even before the Messiah came, because of their whoredoms. If you identify, if you are a descendant of slaves, brothers and sisters, it is you, O house of Judah. He says that he's going to save you. And the house of Israel. But if you were taken in captive, if you are a descendant of slaves, it is you. And if you come back to him, your seed shall be prosperous. You will possess all things, and the curse will be removed. Revelation chapter 22, verse 14 through 15. Verse 14 reads like this. Blessed are they that do his commandments. Let's just stop right here. If you want to see someone who is blessed, they are the ones who do and keep his commandments. When you see those people out there in the streets and you speak to them and they say, oh, how you doing? They say, oh, I'm too blessed to be stressed. Oh, I'm blessed. No. If they are not keeping his commandments, they're not blessed. The scriptures clearly tell you exactly what a blessed person looks like. Here it's telling you that a blessed person is one who does the commandments. That is the action. Now here comes the promise for the action. That they may have the right to the tree of life. Who's going to have the right to the tree of life? Only those who keep his commandments. Brothers and sisters, this is clear. You can't mistake what this is saying here. If you do his commandments, you're considered as blessed. And then you have the right to the tree of life. Now remember, this is the end of the book, brothers and sisters. This is the final outcome. This here is, how would you say, your conclusion to the matter. Now, if the ones who keep the commandments have a right to the tree of life, what happens to the ones who don't? Look at 15. For without are dogs. Anyone who does not keep the commandments of the Most High is considered a dog. And sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. Brothers and sisters, the ones who are in verse 15 are those who do not keep his commandments. Every last one of these, brothers and sisters, is a commandment. Come on. Look. Study. Remember, the only reason that our people perish is because we have no knowledge. Brothers and sisters, the promises are for you if you keep his commandments. The Father is not a sugar daddy. That is the way we have made him for all these years. We run out and we fornicate. We serve other gods. We live lies. We're dealing with sorcery and prostitution. And then when we get in trouble and we're in need, we run to our sugar daddy. And we believe that because we ask for these things, that we're supposed to get them. Well, that's what the church tells you. But it's not coming from our Father, Yahuwah. It's coming from your Father. If you're not keeping the commandments, you have a different father. And your father would be the devil. Be blessed. Keep the commandments. Have the right to the tree of life. Don't be left outside, brothers and sisters. The kingdom will be about law, commandments, righteousness. There will be no unrighteousness. If you can't do this here, you surely won't be able to do it there. Shalom.